From the News Channel 5 Network, this is MorningLine with Nick Barris.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine. I'm Nick Barris on this Wednesday. And as always, I'm going to invite you to join in the conversation. We're going to talk education this morning. So much happening, and over the past year, let's face it, everything from virtual learning to, kids being asked to wear masks or not, and vaccinations, and what's happening right now with the schools and the pandemic. And unfortunately, I think we all hoped that much of this would have been put behind us. But as you know right now, at least at the current state of things, not just here in Tennessee, but across the country, is that COVID, yes, that nasty virus continues to linger and continue to cause problems. And we see what's happening in schools right now with regard to the debate over wearing masks, the safety for students and teachers, and also the mere fact that right now so many schools are having to shut down for a day, a couple of days, a week, because they've lost teachers or students who are to the point where there's so much illness, they just need to take a break before they come back. How is this going to all work out, and how do they handle this moving forward? Because against the backdrop, the big important thing to remember here is these are students, whatever the grade, that are, there to learn. And the bottom line, over the last year to now, it's not been up to snuff, meaning no one's fault, but are these students falling behind in the big picture? How does this work out moving forward? We'll talk about that and invite you to sound off as well. This morning with us is Beth Brown, Tennessee Education Association. Her organization, I'm not going to say is nonpartisan, they are bipartisan. They don't take sides, but she made it very clear to me before the show starts that everything with a lot of these, education decisions and what happens in schools, and her organization is one that recognizes it's political in a lot of ways, and you have to deal with politicians, and that's part of it. Is that right, Beth?
That's absolutely right. Good morning, Nick. So glad to be with you this morning. You are absolutely right. The Tennessee Education Association is a bipartisan organization. We recognize that every decision about how our schools operate from the local level to the state level is a political decision. And so it is our job as an organization to work with both Republicans and Democrats as we look to decisions that are going to be in the best interest of Tennessee's public school students and educators.
And that's the goal of your organization, and you have members across the board. It could be teachers, administrators, the school bus drivers, the custodial staff, everything, all of those folks who are involved with schools as a whole. And across the board, everyone wants what's best for the students and the schools and all of that. So characterize for me how you view what's happening, now that school's been underway here for several weeks, and some of the issues that have popped up. And, I saw yesterday Stewart County schools they're basically shutting down until September 7th now to try to clean things up and get people healthy. The issues that are happening right now, how serious do you see what's happening right now?
Well, it is very serious. No one imagined that we would be going into a third academic year dealing with COVID-19. I spent the entire last week on the road visiting schools, and that beginning of the year enthusiasm is pretty dim right now. What I witnessed from educators as they shared stories about what they're experiencing, what their students are experiencing, is just a tale of frustration, a tale of disruption. We understand how important it is for students to have access to in-person instruction. No one debates that. But with the current surge in infection rates due to the Delta variant of COVID-19, that's exactly what we have is constant disruption. And unlike last year, we don't have plans in place that help us move from one type of instruction to another in a seamless manner. And so what educators were sharing with me is, although they had a lot of fear last year, they did feel like there was a plan. And right now they feel like they're operating without a plan, which is so foreign to what teachers do. I mean, that's what we do for a living, is we create lesson plans, we deliver instruction. That's how we operate. And so as they're operating without a plan, without knowing what's going to happen and what their options are as they're dealing with rising infection rates, there's a great sense of frustration. There's also a great sense of anxiety and concern as as they see student after student after student going home or going to the hospital because they've been infected, as they see their colleagues and students having to quarantine due to exposure. They're having to pick up the slack, teach extra classes, cover for their colleagues because they don't have the ability to put into place some of the measures that were implemented last year when we saw increased infection rates across districts.
And I wanted to ask then about the plan, and I guess when you're talking about what was in place last year, that would have been the option of virtual learning, which does not seem to be on the table, though we see there is a suggestion now that there may be some exception waivers in certain cases. But is that primarily it, that, if things get really bad now, you don't have the option of virtual learning, so everything just kind of shuts down? Or what other measures perhaps are missing that might be helpful right now?
Well, there are a number of things that districts should be empowered to do. When we think about the fact that school boards are making decisions, they are duly elected bodies, decision-making bodies who understand their communities, are very closely monitoring infection rates. They need to have the ability to make decisions that are in the best interest for the health, safety, well-being, and academic needs of our students and educators. The mitigation strategies include social distancing, cleaning, masking, the ability to go to remote instruction if it's needed. And again, these were all things that local bodies were able to do last year as they followed the science, as they followed the data. We saw districts able to temporarily put into place strategies to keep people safe and keep instruction going. What we have right now, and when you mentioned Stewart County, there are a number of districts who have closed because they can't staff their schools, or they just have so many students out due to quarantine or infection that they're actually, the students are sitting at home learning nothing. And that is not better than learning remotely. And so we need to make sure that our school boards, who have been elected by the communities which they serve, have the opportunity to make decisions that will allow for not only the safety of our students, but the continued learning of our students. And that's not what we're seeing right now.
I think everyone wants to keep students safe and allow them to learn as best possible, including our politicians, including our governor. It's how you do that where there are disagreements, clearly, and it becomes political. Now, our governor, of course, issued an executive order, that essentially, takes away school districts' ability to mandate masks. And I know there are school districts that are ignoring that and doing what they feel is best. And this may be played out in court down the road. But if you had an audience with the governor and was able to sit down with him and have a conversation, I know his heart's in the right place. It's just about how you go about doing it is maybe what's different. What would you suggest, or if you had a conversation with him, what would you want to share with him, about the issues you're facing right now and what might be done about it?
That's a great question, Nick, and thank you for that. I think it's important for us to remember, you're absolutely correct. Everyone agrees that safe in-person instruction is best. And what we're dealing with now is the question of, when is it safe, and what do we do when it's not safe, as we're seeing these infection rates soar across the state of Tennessee. I think we have to acknowledge that our governor has realized and has stated publicly that masks work. He spent $12 million of Tennessee's taxpayer dollars last year on a campaign that said, "Face it, masks work." And I think if we as educators, if we as a state, if we as state leaders are committed to student learning and making sure that students have continuity of instruction, then we have to be open to all of the safety protocols and the mitigation strategies that are available to us. Nobody wants students in school more than educators. We understand that nothing replaces the art and the magic that happens when you are teaching students in person. But we have to consider the health, safety, and well-being of our students, their families, our educators, and their families as well.
On that note, let's take a quick break, Beth. We're going to come back and continue our conversation. We've got some folks on hold as well. We'll get to Tammy and Joe and others. If you have questions or comments about what we see happening in schools right now, Beth Brown's with the Tennessee Education Association. Share it with us. We'll be back with more right after this break. Stay with us.